now, and we can get started on that. Then I set the style of it to be the one that we created last time. So big pin just made it big and black and ready to go. And then the visibility turns it on, make sure it's there. Okay, the reason I put the visibility now is because what we're actually going to do, every single pin that we generate is going to be hidden by default. So that setting where it says visible is actually going to change to hidden very soon, guys. Okay? Then we add it to the grid. So what that does, adding it to the grid actually displays it on the form. Does that make sense? And then to actually put it in the right column and row, you have to use grid.setColumn and grid.setRow. Sounding okay so far, guys? Now, you just told me before, guys, I need 4 pins across, right? And 11 rows down. So can you guess what I'm going to use for that one? If you need to repeat something, what do you use? A loop. And the easiest one of all is going to be a for loop for this, guys. So we're going to start adding some code right now, and I'll stop the recording in midway so you can get it. The first one is I'm going to go for y equals 0 to 10. Why is it 0 to 10, guys?
Because 0 is the starting index.
Yeah, and why to 10 then, Nick?
Because that means it's 11.
Perfect. So there's the top of the loop, guys. Bottom of the loop appears under the set row. How many across? That's up and down, guys. How many across do I want? I want 4. Okay, so I'm going to go 4x equals 0 to 3. And the next goes underneath the set row as well, guys. Can you see that all right? 2 for loops and 2 next down the bottom. All right. Now the reason I've called, do you understand why I've called them x and y, guys? Why is that? No pun intended. Do you remember your coordinates, guys?
Yep.
That's exactly why I've used x and y. So you know one's up and down and one is left and right. If you watch this, if I press play now, why is there only 1 pin there? I could tell you why. It's actually generating amount of pins we need. But guys, can I get you to look here? The set column. What column am I setting every single pin to?
Same one.
If I change that to X and then set the row to Y, watch this. How good's that? So easy to do. That's how, like, I only added 4 lines of code. And that's the job done there. We are actually up to the hardest part. Okay? We're creating all these pins. Am I setting a name to any of these pins?
No.
I actually don't want to set a name, because if I do, I'm going to have to sit there and name every single one, and I'm going to have to give it a set sort of name, and then I'm going to have to perform it. It's annoying. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create an array at the top of this form, and that's going to store every single pin that I generate. So I can actually access each pin, guys, with an X and a Y coordinate. So if I want, let's say for instance, I want the bubble there, I would choose row 1, column 1. And that would get me the second one in the, or I suppose you call that the 4th one, wouldn't you? In there. So we can use X and Y for that. So guys, can I get you to, no matter where you are, scroll on up to the top. In between class main window and window loaded, we're going to do a couple of things. So the first one is we're going to dim big pins. And in the brackets, we need to specify how many pins we want, just like an array we've done in the past. I want 3 by 10 and as an ellipse. Quick question, guys. Why is it 3 by 10 and not 4 by 11? Because it starts at 0. That's right. 0 to 3 is 4. Guys, can you remember we talked about the little pins on the side? We had the big pins on one end and then the little pins on the side. We actually need to declare another array for the little pins, and we'll just do it while we're here. And this one's 3 by 9. Any idea why I've only got 10 rows? 4 across, but 10 rows.
Because the correct one.
Sorry, Dave Pringle? Thanks, mate. That's exactly it. Okay? We're going to dim one more array, guys. There's lots of arrays in this one, isn't there? Okay? Now I'm going to call it colors to guess as a brush, and I'll explain why a brush in a second. Last variable, guess as integer equals -1. Okay, so if I could just have your eyes for a sec, guys, I'll take you through these just quickly. Big pins, big circles in the middle, they're the ones the user chooses to guess the colors at the bottom. Little pins, they're the ones that are on the side to tell you if you got it correct or not. Colors to guess are going to be the ones they have to guess at the bottom. And then guess is what guess number they're up to. So if that gets to 10, they've run out, game over. Okay? So we need to finish up window loaded, fellas. So what I want you to do, scroll down a little. Just underneath this grid.setColumn and grid.setRow, we are going to add the pin to our array. This is actually really easy to do. This is a big pin, right, guys? In these loops, we're creating the big pins. You simply go big pins x, y, because that's our loop, equals pin. So we create the pin, guys, add it to the grid, and then store it inside our array. Simple as that. Now what do we have to generate, guys? We have to generate all the little pins. Okay. And here's the annoying part, is we actually need to generate them 2 at a time. All right, I'll quickly show you what it looks like in the final version, just so you've got an idea. So here's the program. I can take a stab at a few things. Can you see how 2 pins appear on top of each other like that? Yeah. See if I can get some more. Oh, God, I got it worse. And I'll leave this one as white. No, I still can't get it. So there'd be 2 pins on the right as well. So we've actually got to generate 2 little pins at the same time. All right, guys. So what I want you to do, can you please highlight from the top of your for while loop down to the next, and we're going to copy and paste that. So if you do that right now, just copy it and paste it under the next. Just here. And I'm just going to put a little comment here that says little pin so I know what this is. Okay. First mod, guys, we're going to modify the loops. The first thing is we don't have as many little pin rows. That 10 becomes a 9. You've only got 10 rows of little pins. Okay? This one, however, we're actually generating 2 pins at the same time, right, guys? So if I loop from 0 to 3, I'm going to loop 4 times, aren't I? I only need 2. But I'm going to add that on the end. Step 2. So it'll start at 0, and when it goes to the next loop, it'll go to 2. And then it'll go to 4 and stop. It's very confusing to begin with, but bear with me. Okay. Next thing we need to do, guys, is before we generate this pin, we actually need to create a stack panel. Because we've got 2 pins, one on top of each other. They're in a stack panel. That's how confusing this gets. So let's start with the stack panel, guys. Let's just create the stack panel, and we just put it inside the grid. It's really easy to do. Dim stack as new stack panel. And then I add it to the grid. The grid, children, add, stack. And after we add it to the grid, guys, we're going to set its position. Grid, set column, stack, comma, x plus 4. And then grid.setRow. And stack y. I won't explain the plus 4 just yet, guys. Just bear with me. Just believe me that it works. That'd be nice. The hardest thing is this plus 4 to explain to start with. Now, can you remember how many columns we have in this form? Okay, so if I run my program, that's rows. So columns, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to be honest, because I need 2 rows for the little pins on the sides. Okay, does that make sense? So I want to add my stack panel or my little pins on, not I want to add it on this column, I add it on the 5th column to start with. That's why I've got plus 4. It's going to go straight to the 5th column. Alright, so I'll leave it at that for the moment, guys. We need to modify this code slightly, so you're right to continue. All I'm going to do, where it says big pins, right there, guys, we need to change that to little pins. Okay. And can you also see what I need to change, guys?
Where it says big pin.
Where it says big pin, it needs to be little pin. That's our style that we're adding there. Alright, and I think I'm missing something. That's what I'm doing differently. Okay, this part here, we added it to the grid, didn't we, guys? We're no longer adding it to the grid. This is probably the most confusing part for you. We're no longer adding it to the grid, we're adding it to the stack panel. Okay? So guys, if you look at this, these 3 lines of code, from the grid to set row, gone. It's going to be stack, children, add, and we just add the pin. Okie dokie. So we create the stack panel, create the pin, add it to the little pins array. Okay, and we're pretty much good to go. How you going all right so far, guys? All right. If you watch this, those code, or that line of code from dim pin down to little pins is being copied and pasted. So it happens twice in a row. Can everyone see the error I'm getting though?
Pin was already got a name set to change it to like pin 1.
I'm going to change it to pin 2. And make sure, guys, from this line that I've just double clicked on, can you make sure it says pin 2 from below that? So pin 2 style, pin 2 visibility, add pin 2 equals pin 2. Alright, the only other thing I need you to change, guys, x plus 1. Alright, and that sets it in the next spot in our array. Wherever I've just got little pin, stuff up, let's call it small pin. I didn't realise I did that. Check it. What I'd suggest you do, so because you copied my project, yours will be small pin as well. Alright, that's what it should look like, guys. If you don't have that, call me over and I'll check it out. We'll fix it up. Should have black pins and lots of little red pins. That's why I set it to red originally. You want to actually make this a little bit interesting? Likes to actually get some interactivity going on here, so when they click on the big pins, they change colour. Alright, the first problem is, Zogo, we need to set up a function. Can you scroll up above window loaded? I want to go in between my dims and my window loaded. Matt, you can still continue with this, mate. I'll get you caught up soon. Okie doke. So what we're going to do, colours are known as brushes, aren't they? Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a number and we're going to convert that to a brush colour. So the function int to brush. And I'm going to take one number and we're going to return a brush number. Now there's only 6 colours that you can have in Mastermind. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to select what number we have. If it's 0, we're going to return brushes black. Are you with me so far, guys?
Yes.
Okay. If we get 1, we're going to return white. And we're going to keep going in this manner. Okay, copy, paste. This one's going to be blue. This one's going to be red. This one's going to be green. And then this one's going to be purple. Because why not? Alright, this might be a bit confusing to start with, guys, but as we keep using this, it's going to make a whole lot more sense. I promise you. Okay. So, unfortunately, because we've run out of time, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Next time we get to this, we're going to finish off clicking on the pins, and we're probably ever going to get to the point where we can generate the answer and make them have to try and guess it. The hardest part is the little pins. So, thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate it.